Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ. And make sure you hit that like button. We are now here for the off season, and there is a lot to get into in this video, so you don't want to miss any of it. But first, we're going to start with the divisional round, the rest of the playoffs, and how they went. Denver lost 7-10 to the Jaguars. That must have been an amazing game to watch, 7-10. And the Packers do obviously beat us. The Patriots beat New England beats the Chiefs by 7, and then the Rams demolished the Eagles 38-17. And you know what's funny? You see the times played? That's funny because even though it was the same game, I exited out and then went back in. It said I played twice. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get that there. So going into the conference championships here, AFC and NFC, the Patriots actually lose. So the Jaguars get their revenge from last year. Remember, the Jacksonville and the Patriots met up in the AFC Championship last year, and the Patriots got the better of them. But this time, Jacksonville gets their revenge. Bortles having a season to remember. I mean, they scored 47 points. I want to see, whoa, I mean, did you see that? 521 yards gained. I mean, just an amazing game, probably by Blake Bortles. 2 touchdowns. I mean, this guy, he had a crazy season. How did he have this great of a season? Leonard Fournette with over 100 yards. Marquise Lee, 11 receptions, 132 yards. I mean, just amazing. And then the Rams beat the Packers by 3 points. So moving on to the Super Bowl, the Rams take care of business. 42-21, doubling up the score of the Jaguars. Let's just see what happened in this game. And looking at both teams, it looks like Bortles actually got rattled. 201 yards. This is more of a Bortles type game. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and Goff 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But look at this, 76 completion percent to 56. So that makes a difference. The running backs pretty much had the same game. 18 carries for 83, 18 carries for 82. And then on the receiving end, Brandon Cooks goes for 135 with 73 yards after catch. Looks like he had a 49-yard reception for his long. But let's see who came up with those interceptions in this game. And it looks like it was Nikel Roby-Coleman and John Johnson. So the Rams take home the trophy. So now that we hop into the offseason, that means that a lot of our older guys are going to regress quite a bit. So looking at Trent Williams, he only regresses 12 down to a 91 overall. Ryan Kerrigan regresses down to an 84 overall. His pass rushing skills looks like they went down a little bit, but I'm not too concerned. He's still a decent pass rusher at age 31 at 84 overall. It looks like Vernon Davis regressed the most out of anybody, 64 total. But look at his catching. He went down minus 11. So he's down. We might need another tight end to kind of counteract those regression ratings. Josh Norman goes down a little bit. I'm not really too worried about him. The thing is, I don't really know if he's worthy of a #1 corner anymore. I think I might have to slot him over to the slot or to the second cornerback on the left side. I don't know, because I don't think he's a #1 corner anymore. He is the best corner on our team, so we might not have much of a choice. But just looking at the rest of the guys who regressed, looks like Zach Brown barely regressed a little bit. He went down in speed, down in play recognition a little bit, but not too much. Alex Smith did not regress pretty much at all. Only 6 attribute points at age 35. That's pretty good. But looking at Orlando Scandrick, he regressed a lot, and he's definitely going to be somebody we might need to replace a little bit, so I'm kind of worried there. But on the flip side, let's look at a couple of guys who improved quite a bit, starting with Darius Geis. He started at 78 overall, and after this season, he's at 87 overall. He's still star development trait. I was hoping that would get up to superstar, but you can see it's trucking at 96 now. So he's going to be a beast going into next season. Hopefully he does not get hurt like in real life, but he's a big part of our offense going forward. Paul Richardson actually improves a little bit. He goes from an 84 overall up to an 87 overall. So he's primed to be our #1 receiver going into next year, and he showed how much he was worth. He still led our team in passing, receiving yards, even though he was out for 5 games at the end of the season. So that's pretty good. Josh Doxson actually goes up a little bit. He actually moves up to a quick development now. He was at normal development. Now he's at quick in his 4th season, going into his 4th season now. 89 speed, 88 catching, and 88 catching traffic is pretty good. I'm proud of the progression he made. He goes from 78 to 81, which is pretty good. He's still kind of young too, in his mid-20s. So hopefully he can kind of take the reins of that number 2 position now at a pretty good full season. At that number 2, Paul Richardson kind of helped him out being out. It kind of gave him more targets, but I don't care because it helped him get that development trade up to a quick. Then the last guy I'm going to look at here is Deron Payne. He does stay at quick development, but he goes from a 77 overall at the beginning of the season to an 82. He's looking to be our star on the defense now because honestly, he had 8 sacks last season. I mean, that is awesome for a rookie. So hopefully, since he had 7 sacks in the regular season, but he had 8 sacks total in the playoffs. So, I mean, just a guy to build around in the middle of the defense. It's going to be good and fun to play with somebody like that. So we do have $46.9 million in cap room and a lot of money. That's actually a lot of money to spend. And let's just look at the top guys. Trey Boston is a free agent. That's a pretty good safety there. Monte Nicholson, like I said, he started fast, but he ended slow. So I don't know exactly what my future is with him. But I also have Troy Apke, who didn't develop really well at all in his rookie year. He didn't really get in too much, but hopefully he can be a guy. He's got great speed on the back end. Ryan Shazier is there. Delaney Walker is there. Remember, I started this before the contracts pretty much came in. So Delaney Walker did not have his contract signed. Danny Shelton is a free agent at defensive tackle. I don't really need a D tackle. Trevor Williams, the cornerback. Just looking at all these top guys, is there any guy that we might want to go after? Trent Brown is interesting. So this is a guy that we might want to go after. He's 6'8", 355 pounds. And one thing that I needed to improve on is the pass blocking. And he's a great pass blocker. 86 pass block, 89 pass block power. So that's actually really, really good. He's the number 8th ranked right tackle in the league. I think he might be the top guy we go after. But look at this. Dante Fowler is a free agent as well. He's a pass rusher we could possibly go after. He's got 86 speed off the edge, and he's still younger at 25 years old. Let's just keep going down the line, see if there's another guy that we might want to go after starting out. I'm just going down the line here, just looking at a couple guys. Maybe even Adrian Claiborne is a veteran guy you might want to get, but let's just keep going down. Just looking at the top 100 here. Coney Ely, he's a right end here at 27 years old. He might be a guy we might want to go after. We don't really need offense too much, but just going through these guys for you guys so you guys can see who is a free agent. So we decide to go after Trent Brown, and he's 26 years old, quick development. We're going to try to give him a contract that kind of helps us out a little bit. He has 14 other teams trying to go up against him and get him. So here's the thing. We have a little bit of cap room, but we need this guy. I mean, he's a great right tackle. So we're going to offer him, the fair offer is $21 million over 4 years. We're going to offer him $24 million over 4 years, but then also give him a $4 million signing bonus. So his cap hit is $7.85 million. So let's offer him this contract. So we end up with 148 total points, which actually puts us way above any other team. And he would be one of our highest paid guys on our roster if he does sign with us. So look at this. So we do end up getting Trent Brown. So that is a huge signing for us, as we now have our right tackle, which makes it interesting because that makes Morgan Moses expendable. We can probably move him. Remember, we have Jerron Christian, the guard at actually the left tackle at left guard. We're actually going to switch his position over to guard now, since we do have a left tackle and a right tackle locked up. Chris Hubbard is actually going to move over probably to center full time. I like him at center. So maybe Jerron Christian might move to center and Hubbard might move to guard. We'll see. I don't really know there, but we do have our offensive lineman signing now, and that makes our offense a whole lot better. But we do still have answers at the linebacker position mostly and at pass rush. So let's look at the other free agents on stage 2. So unfortunately, Zach Vigil ended up signing with the Dolphins. They offered him a big contract for probably because of what he did in last season, and they offered him 3 years, $8.4 million, $6.15 in salary, $2.25 in bonus. That's the fair offer. I kind of looked at what they offered, and that's probably what they offered. So he actually got one of the bigger contracts, I believe, from all these linebackers, one of them at least. But Ryan Shazier ends up going to the Rams. So a lot of big signings happening already. Clay Matthews goes to the Bills. Pernell McPhee goes to the Rams. I mean, the defending Super Bowl champions are getting strong. You can see Dan Buchanan goes to the Dolphins. So the Dolphins actually offered 2 big contracts to free agents. Looking at cornerbacks here, a lot of guys got decent contracts. Nobody really got a big contract. Trevor Williams gets $18.5 million. And then Trey Boston goes to the Dolphins as well. They are spending a lot of money. So that means we have a void. We have a hole at middle linebacker. So I'm actually going to go after a veteran here, Derek Johnson. We're going to offer him a 1-year deal. And I think the fair offer is good enough for me. It'll put our cap room down to $35 million. But he's just kind of a stopgap guy at 36 years old. He's actually rated pretty well. You see that 82 speed, 85 play rec, 85 awareness. It's pretty good. I like this contract signing. If I do get him signed, I like this. So let's offer him this contract and see if he likes that, if he does come to our team. So after free agency, we do only end up signing 2 notable guys here. Trent Brown, the right tackle. He's 83 overall, 26 years old. We gave him a big contract, $39.8 million, $16 million bonus, 23.8 over 4 years. He's going to be the future of this offensive line, and he's going to be contributing right away. And then Derek Johnson, who's going to fill in for Zach Vigil, because Zach Vigil did sign with the Miami Dolphins. And here's the thing. I went into free agency wanting to get 2 things. Pass rush, maybe help in the secondary, and then an offensive line. We addressed one of those things, offensive line. I kind of want to go the route of drafting a few pass rushers in this draft and kind of building through the youth movement. I kind of want to move into that youth movement type of team just because, you know, I like the team that we have, but if I can just get some veteran mentors and get some guys that fit well with the young guys and not get the tweeners at like 29, 28 years old, I think we'll be all right. So let's look at some of the signings around the league. Ryan Shazier goes to the Rams. Delaney Walker goes to the Jets with a pretty good deal, $14.1 million, I believe. I don't know if that's the real contract or just showing the fair offer. I'm pretty sure they got close to this, but look at the Dolphins. They are just splurging, $52 million probably given to Shelton. Let's keep going down the line. Dante Fowler signs with the Bills. Ty Montgomery goes to the Colts. Mark Ingram goes to the Jets, so they finally get a running back, and CJ Anderson signs with the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles have so many running backs they sign. This is interesting. Amir Abdullah goes to the Packers. They might need a little bit of running back help. It looks like they probably did if they're going after him. Tyrod Taylor goes to the Chiefs. That's interesting as well since they have Patrick Mahomes. But just looking at the other players here to know, I don't really see anybody that's too big here going to a different team. CJ Yeldon goes to the Chiefs. Let's keep going down the line here. Al Woods goes to the Bears. Cole Beasley goes to the Seahawks. I guess that kind of makes sense. They kind of like those slot type of receivers that can just get open. Jordan Matthews goes to the Bucks. Where did Marshawn Lynch go? Of course he goes to the Patriots. Marshawn Lynch, he's going to go there to try to get a ring there. Preston Smith, our former right outside linebacker, he goes to the Eagles. So the Eagles are loading up as well. Teddy Bridgewater goes to the Bills. So a lot of different signings here. Looks like the Dolphins end up spending the most money in free agency, and the Jets also signed a bunch of guys as well. And here's an interesting one. Shane Ray goes to the Packers, so they get the pass rusher they need. So looking at the first pick, Levy Colmar goes to the Jets, the defensive tackle out of Auburn. We're actually just going to skip ahead to our user pick. So let's advance ahead to the user pick here. And we do end up with pick number 27. So we do have a couple of trade offers. It looks like Chicago, why would I give up my first round this year for a second round the following year? That just doesn't make any sense. You would need to trade multiple picks in order for me to trade this pick. So something like that, this stuff just isn't enough for me. I think we are going to select at this pick. It doesn't look like anybody's giving me a good offer at all. So we're going to stick at this pick and make our selection here. And let's just look to see who's still on the board. So let's look at our draft board a little bit. So we do want Rory Stair. Now he's interesting. Let's look at his combine grade. He is a great run blocker, a great pass blocker as well at right tackle. I just admire that. We did just get a right tackle, but we can convert him to a guard possibly because he is a good run blocker as well. But if you look at his combine grade, it's a little lower. It's a little lower at 5.1, but he is top of our draft board. I didn't really reorder this in any type of way, but I do like him. But let's just look at the rest of the available players here at every single position. Starting out with this guy, man. Tyshawn Woodley. He is a cornerback out of Alabama, but look at his combine grade, 8.3. So he is going to be quite good coming in right away. He's the number 2 guy on the board right now and still at the bottom of this first round. But Jamaris Johnson is actually pretty good as well, but he has a slow 40-yard dash. But let's look at this last guy, Anthony Vincent. He's one of the top corners as well. He has a slower 40-yard dash too. So I think I might want to go with the speed guy. We do kind of need speed at the cornerback position, and we can kind of develop the man coverage and zone coverage as we go on. He is 21 years old, and I think that he's going to be a nice guy to develop. So let's go with Tyshawn Woodley. Remember, we do want offensive line, we do want pass rush, but we're gonna probably pick a lot of guys in the middle rounds that fit that stuff. So we're gonna go best player available here behind the running back, Tyshawn Woodley. He's on his way to Washington, so let's draft him, see what we got. So we got a good pick here. He is 70 overall, 97 speed. So he is going to be pretty good. But look at this, his man coverage, 57. I mean, that is just horrible. And I mean, his awareness is at 44, so we might have made the wrong pick here picking him. But I mean, his athletic ability is unmatched, 97 overall. But I mean, that's the risk you take picking a guy that's just uber athletic but at the top of the draft board. So let's move on to our next pick. So now that we're at the second round here, let's look at the best players available once again, but we probably won't go after an athletic guy like we did last time. We do kind of want a pass rusher, but we do also want that offensive line. We want to shore up that offensive line, make that probably the most solid part of our offense, and we would be set for the future. So going into this round, let's just see where Rory Stair ranks as far as best players available. So he's coming up. So if we don't get him here, he will probably drop and be picked if we just don't trade up at all. So I'm thinking about going with Rory Stair here. I like this deal for sure. I like what he brings, run blocking and pass blocking. So we do go after him, but he's 65 overall right now. And look at this, his pass block is only at 60. So our scouting department, I don't know what happened, but his pass block is at 60, run block power is at 90, pass block finesse is at 90, lead block at 86. But man, he is only 65 overall. So that might be 2 misses already in this draft. So let's just sim to our next pick now. So we do want to get a good pass rusher here, and we kind of have our eye on a couple of people. So Cody Beatty out of Alabama, it looks like he actually is a good zone guy. He's not much of a pass rusher, it looks like. His combine grade was a 5.7. So let's just look at right outside linebacker. Matt Edwards is interesting. So he's a 4th round projection, but at a 6.2 combine grade. B- finesse move. He is a faster outside linebacker, so that kind of gives me kind of a, good estimate of what kind of guy he's going to be. It looks like he's going to be a fast edge rusher that can also play in a little bit of zone. I kind of like that. So I'm actually going to go with Matt Edwards, primarily just as a pass rusher. Let's see what he ends up being. So 75 overall, that's a good thing. There we go. We finally have our best pick here in the 3rd round. 75 overall, quick development, 22 years old, and he's 81 speed, 88 excel. He has good finesse moves, 81, 77 block strength. This is a solid pick. This is a really solid pick. He has good man coverage and zone coverage. So he's going to be a guy we can drop back into coverage and rush the passer. So let's move on to our next pick. So we did have 2 3rd-round picks. This was the 27th pick. This is actually our pick. But looking at Denzel Griffin, I did want to go back to him. At play recognition at B- and a scheme fit, he is just too perfect for us to pass up. We don't really see his man coverage and don't see his zone coverage. That scares me a little bit because that means that we're going to probably have to develop that a little more. But his athletic ability and his play recognition is probably what's getting me here, because having a rookie that can recognize plays already is an early 4th-round projection. So we are reaching on him a little bit, but let's just try it out, see what happens. So he does come in at 69 overall. It's a good pick, and he is a quick development, so that's a good sign. At 95 speed, 81 press, but look at that man in zone. I mean, just comes in with bad man in zone, but he can catch the ball a little bit. So maybe this is the guy we might want to develop, and you never know. I mean, he might turn out to be pretty good after developing a little bit. So let's move on. So we are at the 5th round, at the back of the 5th round, and I'm thinking that maybe we can get some value out of this pick. We did have a couple of nice picks. The last couple picks, our first 2 picks were bad, but we did recover quite nicely. So we're at the 5th round here, and I'm thinking maybe we can trade up in the next draft. So I'm looking at maybe like a 4th or even a 3rd rounder come next season. So I'm going to move up in next year's draft, and who I'm thinking of, who do I think is going to finish worse? Chicago. Remember, this was before the Khalil Mack deal, so they do not have Khalil Mack. So Chicago, Tennessee, or Carolina. Who's going to finish worse out of those? I think it's going to be Chicago. So I'm going to trade them this pick for next year's 4th-round pick. I'm going to accept that offer and allow them to pick in our pick. And let's move on to our next pick. And one thing I want to look at here is kind of the boomer bust guys. We're kind of at the 6th round. We kind of want to just get a guy that's kind of best available, but also a guy that maybe is pretty good and maybe he'll pop. And one guy I'm looking at here is JJ Marble. So JJ Marble, look at how athletic he is. He's 1st in the vertical jump, 1st in the broad jump, 1st in the bench press. I gotta get this guy. Looking at him, he's a late 6th round talent, but a 7.2 combine grade. So let's just get this guy and hopefully he turns into something. So we do have him, and look at this pick. He is a superstar trait. Wow. So we absolutely luck out. We trade back and we run into this guy, JJ Marble, in the 6th round. Wow, what is going on? I mean, 65 awareness is all right for a rookie. You don't expect awareness to be high, but everything else is amazing. So we find our pass rusher. This guy might end up being amazing. So that is a gem if there ever was one. We pick up 2 great pass rushers. Wow. So now we find ourselves with our 2nd 6th round pick, and I'm thinking about moving up in next year's draft as well. Let's do it again. Why not? So Seattle, Tennessee, and Baltimore, and Oakland. Who's gonna? Oh yeah, and Carolina. So who's gonna finish worse between those 5 teams? I don't know, but signs point to Tennessee just because they had a down year this year. They finished last in their division this year. So I'm actually going to say Tennessee. Let's trade that pick and move up in next year's draft and then finish out this 7th round with our next selection. So with our last pick in the draft, we are going to decide to go after some QBs. And looking at the scouting report, remember, this is a fictional draft class created by SD Raiders. If you want to check it out, look in the description for the link. This is an imported draft class. It's pretty cool. I mean, I got to admit, it's pretty cool. And looking at the scouting report, I'm looking at some quarterbacks here, and I'm looking at Kenneth Mayo. He was actually top 10 in quarterback rating as a senior at Michigan State, and he's 6'4", 227, and he does have a strong arm, and he's a scheme fit. I do kind of like him just to see what he's like, so we're going to go with this. So looks like he's 66 overall, 22 years old. He does have pretty good throw power, 89, and shoulder accuracy is a strength as well, 79, but he's okay. I mean, he's okay, but just to get another quarterback on the roster, you never know if he'll make the roster or not, but I just did it just because it's our 7th round pick. Doesn't really matter here. One thing I did want to introduce, one thing I do in my dynasties is being a recruit, and you guys get to be an undrafted free agent. So what does that mean? So you guys submit some information. I'll leave kind of a template in the description, but submit your information and you will possibly make the team as an undrafted free agent, maybe, but more than likely a practice squad player. But you never know, you might show out in preseason and you might make the squad. So I'm not going to change any ratings. I'm basically just going to edit one of the undrafted free agents and make them what the template of what your guy is like. So submit your information and you can possibly make the squad as undrafted free agents. So here is our roster going into preseason, but there are going to be more guys added just for the preseason, but I want to get your guys' undrafted free agent submissions in so we can see those guys in preseason. But looking at our roster, Alex Smith's going to be the starter once again. We did not go after a big rookie quarterback. We did get one late in the draft in our 7th round, and I want to see what he can do a little bit. He's not really mobile, but maybe we can pick him up, or maybe even undrafted free agent. We'll see. Well, I don't really know. Darius Geis, we do have 3 running backs on our roster right now, but that's going to increase once we do sign some other guys in free agency, but after the draft. So looking at our main wide receivers here, we do have 3 of our big guns coming back. We did let go of Trey Quinn, and we did not re-sign him. I think that was an error on my part. I didn't even notice that he was gone from the roster until he was. I'm not sure where he signed, but maybe we can try to get him back. So these are our 5 right now. Looking at tight end, we do have 4 tight ends, the same ones as last year. Left tackle looks like this: Trent Williams and Rory Stair. Obviously, we're going to pick up some guys in free agency after the draft, but that's what it's looking like. Deron Christian moves over to left guard as his full-time position now. Chris Hubbard moves over to center, and he actually played pretty well at center, so I liked what I saw from him at center, so I'm going to keep him there. Brandon Sheriff is going to be at right guard, and then the new signing Trent Brown, who's going to make a huge difference. Matthew Ioannidis at 82 overall at left end. Jonathan Allen at right end as well. Deron Payne's going to be looking to have a big season along with Tim Settle. And then at left outside, it's going to be Ryan Kerrigan. Obviously, these rosters are cut down right now, but I'm signing some guys for the preseason. Don't worry, guys. And then middle linebackers, Zach Brown and Derek Johnson, 2 big veterans. And hopefully that helps Sean Dion Hamilton kind of develop. I want to see him get on the field a little bit this year. Hopefully he does touch the field. We'll see. I want to develop him a little bit more. And then the 2 pass rushers here at rookie, JJ Marble and Matt Edwards, are both going to get in probably during the season. Probably JJ Marble is going to be the starter there. And then at quarterback, Norman, Quentin Dunbar, and Scandrick are going to be our top 3 guys once again. But if one of them messes up, probably not Norman, but if Scandrick starts messing up, which like he did kind of in some of the parts last year, he could be replaceable, and it could be Fabian Morrow in his place. It could be one of the rookies, Denzel Griffin. I don't know about Woodley. He has good zone coverage, but his man and play rec is so bad, and I don't know. And Denzel Griffin's zone and man is so bad, so I don't know what I'm going to do there, but it's interesting going forward. Monte Nicholson, I didn't really find a replacement, but I think it's going to be a battle between him and Troy Apke for that starting free safety position. I think that's up for grabs. And then DJ Swearinger at strong safety. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Remember to get those submissions in. Tell me what you think about the draft class. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.